just bought a caravan, so got to get really accustomed to being caravan participants, but looking forward to more travel.
Yeah, nice. Find there's very distinct roles when you go caravanning.
Yeah.
You've got to have your clear jobs, otherwise things can go wrong.
Yeah, a little bit like work. How do you see your role compared to my role?
I think the role for me is about ensuring that there is a really clear end state of what we're trying to achieve. Things will change along the way, the world moves, but I think if you don't have that North Star, you can drift a little off track. Yeah. This role is about putting the frameworks in place, the processes in place that enable us to keep pace with the pace of change that's sort of hitting every industry around the world at the moment.
Yeah, fantastic.
What about you? How would you explain it?
Yeah, for my role, I think, I mentioned, and I've mentioned it a few times, that our business is changing, our membership's changing, the needs of our business are changing to meet that membership, but the sector is changing. And I'd probably say two sectors are changing. The customer base that we deal with, the employers that we deal with, absolutely changing, but the super sector as well. So I think my focus will remain and focus in on how we remain a fund of choice for those who choose us, how we retain them when they might change jobs, how we fit in the superannuation sector. We are in a competitive environment, something that's not new for CSC, but it's certainly emerging. We're seeing the sector continue to shrink. So just recently, I saw some stats around how many funds will remain in Australia, by 2030, and we're down to maybe 35 to 45 funds. That's a long way from where we were a couple of years ago with a few hundred, beyond self-managed funds. So that's really putting pressure on us to continue to think about how we work with our employers, work with our customers, help get people to join us and stay with us. I think, for me as well, the people side, the staff side, that's incredibly important. You can't do this kind of work without good people, and good people won't stay around if they're not competent in the future. So while we've got a lot to execute, and you've certainly got carriage of the strategy and execution side, I'm looking forward to an increasing part of my role being focused on the group of people that we're going to have carry us forward into the future. If you had to simplify your role, so you've got 3 kids and they're reasonably young, how would you explain it to your children in what you do?
I guess I'd say that my job is to create the pictures in a picture book. I think customer strategy is about creating the ability for people to visualise and understand where we're heading, a bit like a map. If you think of your satellite navigation systems, you can choose multiple paths to get to a destination. Yeah. So I think for me, it's about making that picture really clear about where we're headed and then the path that we're going to take to get there. Yeah. That's probably the simplest way I could explain it. What about you?
Yeah, my children are a lot older, so I could probably explain it to them differently. But if I was talking to my grandson, who's very little, I'd probably say I have the pleasure and the honour of leading the people who help others, and all of the people in the customer group and broadly across the business, again back to purpose. They're really here to help. They're here to help make sense of superannuation, make sense of the decisions that they might need to make, and to provide confidence for people to make those decisions. That's a much better position for our customers than having apathy and not having engagement or taking action. I think a really interesting part of my role is the vision of what the role needs to be, or what the roles in CSC need to be. So at the moment, trying to think about 2035, 9 years away sounds not that far away, but given the advancements and the expectations that we're likely to see over those 9 years, I expect it's going to be a very different looking CSC then.
Hopefully what they will see is improvement in the way that they engage with us. So a lot of the initiatives that we will be running over the next year or so are really aimed at making it easy for people to engage with CSC. So I think that will be definitely one thing I'll be holding myself accountable to. I think also, perhaps a more proactive engagement. So again, that use of data and insights and technology capability hopefully will put us in a position where we are much more proactive and informed around the needs of our customers and really baking that into the way that we work. A third thing I think is, you talked about the changing requirements from the industry and sort of the impacts of regulation and other things on the fund. I think we're going to look internally quite a bit about the way we work and how we're structured to support the different types of members that we have and the different products that we have, and ensuring that the way that we're set up best reflects the members' needs that are in those different situations. So I think, a bit more tailoring.
Fantastic.
The three things at a high level will be easy engagement with CSC, making it easy for customers to engage with CSC. The second is being more proactive through the use of data and insights that we now have access to. And the third, I think, is really focusing on that human capability and specialisation so that we're meeting our customers' individual needs. I think it is thinking about, what work makes the most sense for our people to be doing, where they're using those skills that are absolutely unique to humans, and how they can be complemented by technologies like AI. I think if you only look at that opportunity through a particular lens, like let's say efficiency, then I think you're actually missing the point. You're missing the real opportunity to rethink how we do things.
Absolutely. And I think, the areas that you're talking about there, judgment areas, moments that matter, those kind of phrases are where we always want to see humans and expect to see humans still being part of a member's journey with us. And, that's going to be important. But again, a shifting capability for some of our people.
Absolutely. And I think that's where part of this role tries to make it real for people and help people understand the journey that we're going to take to introduce these sort of capabilities, so it doesn't feel so scary and unknown. Make it really visible, understand that we will take steps, we will crawl before we run. I think that's a really important part of taking our people and our customers along that journey too. Yeah, it's been a really interesting process that we've gone through, essentially using AI capability to run an operational diagnostic across our business to understand how work flows through the organisation, where there are heavy manual workloads, where there is duplication, where there are friction points, and it's all through conversation. So through having conversation with this AI capability, it's drawing out themes and insights and pain points throughout our operational environment so that we can be more data-led and we can be more focused in terms of our investments for improvement. What's incredible for me is the themes that are coming out are not necessarily surprising. They are things that we know. But having that overlay from a data perspective of just the level of impact that some of these things are having on our day-to-day operations, I think is quite powerful. So, we've talked for years about being data-led and how important it is to be data-led. But it's never been easier to access data and to analyse data in really intelligent ways that can really inform our strategies going forward. So, really interesting piece of work, and something that I think you can use general technologies and general AI technologies, whether it's Copilot or whatever you're using in your organisation, you can do similar things with these sorts of capabilities sort of on your own.
Yeah. For me, I think one of the powers that we're yet to see out of AI is how it brings dashboards together. We typically in a business have dashboards, alerting us to where we're doing well, where we may not be doing well. We often don't bring them together, so they can seem separate, and sometimes those data points actually don't tell you the full story when they're in separate tools. So I think one of the items that I'm really looking forward to is how do we see what's happening in some of our operational spaces, what's happening in our people spaces, so what's happening with our staff at the same time, how does one flow into the other, what does that mean then for our customer base, is it good, bad, indifferent, and how might we adjust further down the line if we understood that that's where the challenge or the adjustment is required as opposed to where we might be looking now. So I think the power of AI being able to bring some of these insights together is going to be quite intriguing over the next little while.
Yeah, I think it's also one of the reasons that I was excited to bring the data and analytics team with me into this role. I think bringing that team closer to sort of the forefront, closer to the customer group and the customers themselves, so that we're better able to support the decision making where it matters most. Yeah. But also make that shift, like you say, from being, reactive operational reporting to much more real-time, proactive driving outcomes when they can actually make a difference. So I think it's quite exciting to think we've brought together, customer strategy, data and insights, AI, so that we're thinking about the whole system in how we sort of design where we're going for the future. What is your hope for customer over the next few years?
I think, for customer, the customer group, but the whole of the business, we've got a huge shift to make. The business is changing, our membership is changing, and is changing more and more each year. So, we've had a great, in excess of a century history, but the next 5 to 10 years are going to be incredibly important. Understanding how customers want to be serviced, need to be serviced, the complexities that they're going through, particularly as they head to retirement, is going to be increasingly important for us to help them navigate.